Hello, boys and girls. It's time for another Jeep Talk Show interview. Today, we're going to be talking with Carter. Carter has been in the industry for 2 decades, but it seems like 3, doesn't it, Carter?
It sure does.
You might have seen him off-road events, slinging parts on trail rides with one of the many brands he supports, or on the interwebs promoting products, custom bundles, and a whole gambit of other things over the years. He's the PR and special projects manager for Fox Factory. He's been on the Ultimate Adventure, may it rest in peace, 5 times in a bunch of unique and iconic Jeep builds. He's done the trade show circuit. He's been eat, sleep, breathe Jeeps and off-road since he was a kid. So when was the last time you went to SEMA? This reminds me a lot of Dennis Woods over at Terraflex. You know, he's doing the same thing.
We talk about all this cool Jeep stuff, and then you roll straight into SEMA, like the anti-enthusiast event?
No. I'm sorry. I said it wrong. Not SEMA, EJS.
Oh, EJS, yeah. So actually last year was the first time I had a scheduling conflict. It was the first time in 15 years I have not been there. That was actually, sorry, we'll also throw in the COVID year because no one attended that year.
Right.
But yeah, I love Easter Jeep. Moab is hands down my favorite place to be in the world. I actually had the opportunity to go out to Moab a couple times when it's not Easter Jeep. And I got to say, I love it even more. As cool as it is to hang out with industry people and see amazing rigs and do all that, to get out on the trails and they're not clogged up and just play around and do all the fun stuff and just, I'm going to run 3 different trails today. Why not? That's amazing. Yeah,
it is. I won't say, I mean, now I'm no big time wheeler. I don't want to come across like that. But I didn't think, and I didn't think before going out there that anything was technically very challenging. I figured that I could take the Gladiator out there on 35s and pretty much go where I wanted to go within reason. And it's nice wheeling on sandpaper. You get a really good grip, but it is absolutely gorgeous. And it's not like it's not challenging. It is, but it's not like it's not like you're going over boulders like on John Bull on Gold Mountain or any of those type things. I mean, that's really the limit of my off-roading. It was fun. It was cool going over those boulders. But EJS, I think, is something, or at least Moab is something you have to do as a Jeeper at least once.
Absolutely. And so these trails you're referencing too, I'm an East Coast wheeler. So that's where I live. That's where I grew up. That's where I've wheeled pretty much my whole life. So you're used to trees, you're used to a lot of slick rocks, you're used to bouncing off stuff, you're used to a lot of throttle. It's completely different wheeling out there. You know, you have the grip, as you mentioned, the sandpaper, you have these wide open trails, you have just picturesque trails.
Yes.
And it's just, you're wheeling for the scenic and for the challenge, not for the adrenaline rush of hitting the throttle. You know, there's a totally different adrenaline rush.
Right.
So I try to make it out there every year just because of how iconic, how special it is. And with what's going on right now, you don't know how much longer it's going to be there. I hate to say.
Well, I actually had, oh, damn it, I'm brain farting on his name. Sorry. The Blue Ribbon Coalition had him on to talk about the Chevron deference that the Supreme Court overturned. So I'm a lot more hopeful that, I mean, it doesn't mean that a judge won't make the same decision as far as closing trails and whatnot, but at least it's not in the hands of the special people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for that, and we work closely with Tread Lightly and just trying to find groups like that can be the advocates and can have that collective voice to support everyone to keep the trails open. So
I believe it was Ben. Sorry, Ben. I think Ben Burr. Yeah. So I had been on a couple of times. I was really excited about that Supreme Court thing. I had no idea about Chevron deference. And for the longest time, I thought I was saying it wrong because it's just a weird thing to say. All right. So you've had a lot of fun with Jeeps over the years. How many different Jeeps have you had?
Personally or corporately?
Personally.
Personally, I want to say I'm on my 7th right now. So I sold I had first chance I've had to just have a wheeler Jeep that I can just abuse and put it back on a trailer at the end of the day and just be done with it and fix it and do it again. I sold that one off and an amazing opportunity came along. So I've been with this company with Fox Factory and Sport Truck, so BDS Zone, JKS, those brands. I've been with them for 14 years now. And the first project I ever got to work on, which was a lime green Comanche with fiberglass fenders and 40-inch tires and
I love the Comanche.
The first project I ever worked on with them was to kind of put this concept together to go on the ultimate adventure. So it's near and dear to my heart. The company was like, hey, this is kind of sitting here in storage. We're not doing much with it. So opportunity came along and I seized it. And so that's now my wheeling rig. So I don't know if I might. Yeah, that one right there. Crap. Wrong way.
Yeah, it's always the opposite side. It's
like the backup camera, that one right there.
Yeah, so it's like plugging in a USB. You got to try 3 times.
So, yes, that's been my play rig for the last year and a half or so. I've just been kind of tinkering with it, fixing things up. Eventually a V8's going to go in it. And just giving it a new life and hitting a bunch of trails that it's never hit before.
So standard axles, Dana 30 up front, Dana 35 in the rear.
Yeah, that's all you need for 40s, man. So actually that has a set of J8 axles. They fell off the back of a truck back in the day. We knew a few engineers at Jeep. So that Egyptian Jeep that had the diesel in it, it's got axles out of that. So 44 up front and a 60 in the back, ARB air lockers, 513s. RCV axles, chromalies in the back.
Nice.
4-link, 14-inch.
Have you broken anything? I mean, any of the drivetrain components?
I broke steering on it last year. It was the only thing I broke all year wheeling.
What part of it did you remove the steering box from the
No.
The
it was
just body
just a simple fix. I was just a tie rod end. I thought I could overtake the Rock, and the Rock thought it could overtake me, and the Rock won. So it happens. Unfortunately, I didn't have a spare with me, so I did the old high lift jack trick and a couple jack straps and got it off the trail and partied on from there with friends.
Sure. So what steering components are you running? Is it a mix or is it a certain brand?
Yeah, it's just a mix. Ultimately it's a JK axle up there, so it's just a hodgepodge of 1-ton JK parts. So
Right. Above the knuckle on the
no, still under the knuckle.
Drag. Oh, is it? Yeah,
still under the knuckle.
Yeah, I really like the Comanche. My first Jeep was an XJ. So I have this unnatural love for the Comanche since it's just an XJ with a bed on the back of it. And but I have I like to always brag about this. I have a one owner XJ. Bought it brand new in 98, 97, 98 and still have it. Of course, my main rig right now is the Gladiator. But still got the XJ in the garage. So I've always wanted the Comanche, but like where the hell are you going to put it? It's it's just, unless you got 40 acres, it's kind of hard to store all the Jeeps you want.
Well, there's something to say about an old unibody. And I mean, if you get one, then you got like the predecessor and then the Gladiator. I mean, I think it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I'm not getting rid of the XJ. So my wife has a TJ and my daughter has a TJ. And so we have, I'm pretty sure the people around us think we're nuts for all the Jeeps. Okay, so would you say that is your favorite Jeep that you've ever owned, or is there one that stands out to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the one that turned heads. It's the one that I can just go to the trail and just be confident it's gonna handle the trail. I can hand the keys over to anybody else and let them play with it. And it's got a stroker in it. It's got a AX15, so as long as you know how to drive stick, it just goes.
Mm-hmm. What's the transfer case? It's not an Atlas, is it?
Yeah, 4-to-1, just a 241 out of a TJ Rubicon. So.
Oh, okay, very nice.
A bunch of off-the-shelf parts, and it just works.
Yeah,
so.
Very, very nice. So have you ever had a new Jeep, or have they all been older Jeeps?
I've never had a new vehicle in my life.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
So you like working on things?
I mean, we'll use that word sparingly, but I've chosen to always work on stuff. I mean, I'm not only a Jeep family, and Jeep is where my heart is, but I do have a Super Duty as a tow rig. My wife has a Sequoia that we put a Tundra front clip and lifted it and put 37s on it. Wow. In a mobile. So just nothing stock. Everything's modified at this point.
Does she give you crap about how my 4-wheel drive doesn't get any attention? Your 4-wheel drive gets all the attention.
Ultimately, this is her first modified vehicle, so there was no chance in hell I was going to say, no, you can't have something cool too.
What does she think about driving up and above people and just the go anywhere type thing?
She loves it, and she loves my Super Duty on 38s. Like it's one of those things where before she used to get cut off all the time on the road. And then when she started driving my vehicle, she noticed people get out of the way of you. And so now she has a lifted vehicle and then people get out of her way, and she loves the attention it brings. And yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I don't think it's just Jeeps, but that's what I've experienced is with Jeeps. People, and not young people, mid and older people will stop and tell you nice Jeep and ask you questions about it. And I have a theory that everybody at some point in their life wants a Jeep, and then for whatever reason they don't do it. You know, it doesn't get good gas mileage. People will think I'm having a midlife crisis. And I think it's insane. Well, you should have a Jeep.
Even if it's a midlife crisis, I think it's still worthwhile.
Absolutely.
I mean, the affirmation you get of when someone compliments your vehicle. I mean, there's nothing that beats that. I hate to say it, but I love it every time someone's like, "That's a cool vehicle," and I might have heard it 100 times, but it's still.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. It's a prideful thing, and I think that's all. I always joke. There was a meme going around about. And as a guy, like, I did all this work to make this vehicle cool just so other dudes could tell me they like it. It's like, but ultimately it's like it's a pride, it's a commonality that we all have. We all love modifying a vehicle and making it our own, and the respect that it brings is cool.
Well, it's time, it's effort, and it's money. And when somebody appreciates the style that of how you built it and what it looks like and what it, they may not know what it does, but they can get an idea. That's the wonderful thing, is because people may not get it, but they can appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. So, I don't know what company you were with. You mentioned that JKS, Ride Fox, purchased you guys. What company were you with before joining the team?
Yeah. So kind of go through the company I'm with right now is called Fox Factory. Everyone knows Fox Factory for Fox the shocks, but within Fox Factory are about 19 different companies. Everything from the shocks to suspension parts to lowering kits to turnkey vehicles that you can buy that have everything done to them. So the brands that I was repping a few years ago, and when you had Justin on the show in the past, that is BDS Suspension, which does lift kits for trucks and Jeeps. We have Zone Off-Road, which is where that Comanche was from. They do more of an economy line. It's not every bell and whistle, but it's a good, high quality American made kit. Mm-hmm. There's JKS Manufacturing, which JKS is a kind of a household name within the Jeep community.
Yes.
They do high quality products. They do full kits. They do a lot of the pieces and parts that are the solutions to, I don't want to call Jeep's problems, but the things that we found that need to get upgraded on Jeeps, JKS has found a way to improve those. And then we have Crawl Tech, which is a bumper company. We have Ride Tech, which does lowering suspension for everything from old hot rods to late model trucks. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you guys have part of. The JKS, you're not with the JKS directly, right? You're with the shock portion.
At this point, yeah, I've repped the brand, I've helped them, I've supported them on different things, but at this point, I'm stepping more over to supporting the vehicle side of the company, as far as turnkey vehicles, and to whether that be a Black Widow Jeep or a Rocky Ridge Jeep that has a JKS kit on it and a bunch of other accessories. That's more of the realm that I'm fitting in. But at this point, I've done a little bit of everything with the company over the last 14 years.
All right. So I remember when I got my Mopar lift kit, I got some big old honking Fox shocks for that kit, and they've been wonderful. I mean, the lift, all that stuff has been wonderful. The thing that doesn't come with that kit, I think they may have changed manufacturers or something for the shocks in the meantime, but when I got it, it was Fox shocks. The thing that didn't come with was steering stabilizer. Yeah. So tell me about a steering stabilizer. I think all of us that have been doing Jeeping for a while know that you don't absolutely have to have a steering stabilizer, but it does make things better.
Oh, it absolutely makes things better. And for fear of bringing up the dreaded death wobble word.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeeps are a great setup. However, there is a factory steering stabilizer on there for a reason. And as you increase tire size, the larger mass, and then just as you modify the angles of the different the suspension and the steering and all that, it is more common to need a bigger stabilizer or something that has more damping force.
Let me just make sure you do hear that that noise. It's not a bombing run or something.
I live about 2 miles from an Air Force base, so
okay, good.
We love jet noise, but you just get used to it, and you just kind of go right over.
Yeah, you weren't reacting to it, so I was like, "Oh, holy crap! Is that here? Am I hearing it here?"
Yeah. So the fun thing on that is on days where there's like an aircraft carrier coming in, because I'm in Virginia Beach, so it's right there on the coast. And as the aircraft carriers coming in, they have to take off and land it on the base. So when they're about 50 miles off coast, they all start taking off, and it's about 100 planes within an hour. We'll just, it's just constant.
And it's always during nap time too. I hate
absolutely.
that.
So back on steering stabilizers, right?
Yes.
So as you increase the mass, larger tires, change angle, stuff like that, a steering stabilizer is definitely more needed. We offer a bunch of them, whether you just do a little bit larger cylinder than the factory to help increase that damping force. We have the Fox ones that will have a through shaft, which is kind of equalizes out the pressure on either side of it. So it helps control, keeps it tracking straight. So we have the through shaft one, the TS, as well as the ATS, which is the adjustable through shaft. The nice thing about that ATS one is you have the ability to adjust how firm that damping is, so that it really can help control whether you have a 37 or a 40-inch tire, or if you have a mud tire, you can kind of figure out how much force you want on that steering to help keep it tracking straight down the road for you.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly the direction I was going on this, is because I thought you guys had an adjustable steering stabilizer. I mean, you have, do you have adjustable shocks as well, or is it just the remote reservoir?
No. So in the past, I mean, ultimately the main goal of a reservoir is to increase fluid capacity. Mm-hmm. So as shock fluid gets hot, it starts to dissipate what it can actually do for the shock performance. The reservoir allows you to add increased fluid capacity, which it keeps the shock running cooler as it circulates out and goes to the reservoir.
Right. So as the action of the shock, like a washboard, or if you're driving fast over something and you're getting a lot of back and forth, it's going to heat up that fluid.
Yep.
And the reservoir.
It takes that motion and turns it into heat.
Right.
Is ultimately what it's doing as it controls.
And that reservoir just gives you more fluid.
More fluid capacity, so that the fluid can circulate out away from the hot shock body.
Because you can get fade on the shocks, and they'll stop performing properly, and the reservoir helps it perform longer while you're abusing it.
Absolutely. So I mean, a bigger shock body is going to allow larger components, but also more fluid capacity, as well as a reservoir is going to do that. When you come to the adjustable side of it, we do have adjustable dampers as well, where we call it DSC, dual speed compression. So there's a high speed and a low speed compression side, where you can actually adjust a knob on there. As simple as that is, you adjust a knob, and on the compression side, you can adjust that high speed compression. And that high speed is not when you're moving fast. That is high speed motion of the shock body going up, or shock shaft going up and down into the body of the shock. The low speed is going to be more for that body roll and things like that. So whether it's a big G out, which is going to be your high speed motion, or as you're going around a corner and you're getting a lot of body roll, you can actually firm up or soften up how it's going to handle in those situations, all just with the turn of a knob.
Would this be more for racing, off-road racing applications, or can the rock crawler also see benefits?
Yep. Everyone will see benefits is a short answer there. The technology was developed more on the racing side of how do we make those innovations to make it perform better for race situations. But everything on the race side trickles down to the guy that's going to be going down a dirt road, the guy that's going to be taking it on a rock trail, the guy that's going to be going on his daily drive.
That's a good point. So you may be going slow over the rocks, but you're going from one point to another, and you may want to kick it up a notch and have a comfortable ride.
Yeah, and where that kind of comes into play is everyone's driving preference is different. Everyone wants a certain amount of body roll. Everyone wants to handle a certain situation, whether they know or not. They might just think it just feels kind of firm the way I'm on my daily commute to work. We have the ability with the shocks that you can tune that to your specification, how you want it to ride. So you can soften it up so it's a little bit more plush on road, and then 3 more clicks to firm it up when you go on your, go down to the beach and drive along the beach, and you just want it to soak up that terrain a little bit better. So we make it to where you can easily adjust it on a knob to dial it in. And it's not something we see the customer, he's not going to adjust it every single day. He's going to adjust it. This is how I like it when I'm on the beach. This is how I like it when I'm on the dirt. This is how I like it for my daily commute. and you can have a quick setting to get there.
So I see a situation where you get a call from the wife and go, why is this thing running so damn rough? Oh, honey, I'm sorry. It's real easy to change. Oh, no, second thought. Just deal with it till you get home.
Yeah. So, I mean, absolutely. I'm gonna hold my tongue there. But yeah, no, my wife is has some complaints here and there on how I set some of the vehicles up.
Of course, that's their job.
Yeah. Mine, but we found that happy medium that works for both of us.
Right, and you learn sooner or later. So tell me about the steering stabilizer adjustment. Now, I don't. Again, I know that you don't technically have to have a steering stabilizer. It is a good thing to do, a good thing to have, especially if you're not the only person driving your vehicle. So the adjustment, it's all manually adjusted at the steering stabilizer, correct?
Yeah. So if most of the steering stabilizers will not be adjustable, the ATS, the adjustable through shaft one, is the only one that has an adjustment point where you can firm the damping on it, and that is going to be at the base of the shock. That it's a simple knob that you turn, and there's like 9 clicks that you can turn it up as you need it. So
for people that don't know what that means, because I love adjustments. I think it's wonderful to have that ability to adjust things, especially when it's just a knob and not something you're breaking apart and changing something and putting it back together. What are I think you already said this, but the settings, what is it? Soft, medium, and hard, or
it's on a sliding scale. It's not as it's not the 3 steps there, but
really? So you can adjust it.
Yeah. There are multiple steps in that, and same thing with like the DSC that we were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. That is 10 clicks of high speed and 12 clicks of low speed adjustment. Like there are several clicks, and if you get down to it, moving 1 click, you're probably not going to see a massive jump of how it feels.
That's good.
For 3 clicks, that's where you start to notice it, and then from there you can kind of fine tune.
So give people an idea why they would be adjusting this. What is it going to do for them specifically on the steering stabilizer?
So on the steering stabilizer, it's going to be how firm it feels going around corners and stuff like that. Because ultimately you're putting a force against the steering wheel and the steering ram of like the steering box turning as you're turning left and right. You're putting an additional force to help limit that from turning left and right. So someone, between that and say you're running a 35 or a 37 or a 40-inch tire, depending on how you have that set up, you might want to find that, hey, I don't need quite as much force, or I need more force because of this 40-inch tire wants to wander on the road.
Yeah.
So it's just dialing in for optimal driving situation for you.
So Jeeps on a windy day, would this be something that you would that would help you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So
right,
yeah, I mean, it's just everything will help. Anything can help a Jeep on a windy day.
Well, I mean, you start getting blown around, especially when you have large tires and you're up in the airstream a little bit more. Maybe you got more stuff on your Jeep to catch the wind. And I think the standard meme is the boat with the sails. It's like steering a.
Yeah, and then even beyond the steering stabilizer, I mean, having the suspension set up, like the geometry set up in a better way, so you have the right amount of caster, that you have. The camera's always gonna be good, but the caster is so critical that you have that axle set up to where it's gonna want to center itself. And if not, then that's where steering stabilizer definitely comes in handy to help set all that up. But ultimately, a lot of it's. You made the comment, do you need a steering stabilizer? It came that way from the factory. It's there for a reason. As you increase your tire sizes, you definitely benefits you to have it on there. Mm-hmm. A lot of it goes back to is if you have the right suspension geometry, if you have that all set up right, then that becomes less of a factor.
Right. So I'm not advocating that you don't do a steering stabilizer, but I think the common thing, and I believe you made reference to this, the death wobble. It is not meant to fix death wobble. It's a Band-Aid at best.
Band-Aid fix.
Yeah.
So if you can set the suspension geometry up correctly, this becomes less of an issue, although it's always beneficial to have one on there.
Right. Tell me about using shocks as limiting straps.
Never a great idea, but
no. How do you handle that whenever you guys are doing shocks? I mean, obviously you want to measure it, have the right length shock in the place that it should be. But do you guys have any kind of rule of thumb that you go with, or I don't know if you guys sell limiting straps to help that situation?
So we don't have a limiting strap, and ultimately we have a couple ways we look at this. If you're doing a custom designed suspension where you're gonna get a set of control arms, you're gonna get the custom coil spring, and you're gonna try to piece it all together to have a custom setup for you, then yeah, you're gonna want to set up all the suspension typically without the coils and the springs in there. Sorry, the coils and the shocks in there, and cycle it, see how far it will go, and ultimately use those measurements to that's what you're using to say base the shock length as far as extended and collapsed lengths based on that. Figure out where your ride height's going to be once you have a coil spring in there, and that's where you kind of figure that middle ground. When it comes to buying a kit that right off the shelf that's ready to go, we do all that work for you. So all that work to figure out what the extended collapse length, so you're not maxing out your shock, all that's already been handled by us. We're going to do that. We're going to set up the bump stops. We're going to set up, within our dual rate springs. All of that is set up as a package, so that's going to work totally, by itself altogether. Oh, so you don't have to get additional accessories to say, oh, I still need a limbing strap because I set it up like this. That's all worked into the package that we put together.
Right. So also too, I should mention, if you got a tow vehicle, the Fox shocks aren't just for Jeeps. Just looking here at the site, I see Chevrolet, Ford, GMC, Nissan, Ram, and Toyota. So do you have Fox shocks on your Ford truck?
Everything I own has Fox shocks on. So I've got 2.5.
I thought I was going to catch you.
Yeah, I got 2.5 Performance Elite coilovers on the Super Duty. I've got 2.5 Performance Elites on the Sequoia. And I've got older 2.5 factory series coilovers on the Comanche. So.
Now that's interesting, because I would think coilovers are really just for extreme use, but you have it on the truck.
Yeah. So it can be for extreme use. Ultimately, the nice thing about a coilover is it's the packaging of it. It's your coil and your shock all in one. So you can set ride height, you can adjust ride height, you can adjust the ride quality, you can adjust all of that right there on it, and it has a reservoir to additional fluid capacity. So it's got all that in one clean, nice package. So.
You're spoiled, aren't you? I mean, if you stopped working for this company and you had to do this stuff on your own, you would say, "Oh, this rides like crap."
This habit, if you want to call it that, or hobby, whatever you want to say it is, that they would bankrupt me.
Yeah. So tell people about the coilovers. I mean, I have a general idea about the coilovers, and I've kind of showed my ignorance about it being not something that you would use on a daily, but that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, and ultimately, it kind of goes back to what I just hit on. It's the packaging is the main benefit there. So it puts that coil spring and your shock all in one setup, so you can, and it has plenty of adjustability, whether it be for ride height or ride quality, and typically you get a lot of travel out of them. There are plenty of cases where we say, hey, just get a nice shock with our coil spring, and you're going to get plenty of travel out of it, and it's going to do everything you need. It's typically seen more in a race application. It's typically seen more in a high-speed desert performance application, but you're seeing it trickle more into rock crawlers for that same reason. You can get a lot of travel out of them. Right. You're seeing it more in your daily driver because of the adjustability you can get out of it. So while I agree to your point that is typically more of an extreme option, you see them all over the place. On top of that, I will say even there's a lot of people that do it for the bling.
Sure.
Fancy. They look fancy, and so why not?
Yeah. So what is the longevity? In my head, I'm thinking coilovers aren't going to last as long as the standard stuff, the coil and the shock. Yeah. I mean, the coil probably is going to last a lifetime. The shock is something you change, however often you need to change. When you start getting tire cupping or the ride's not good. But it's a little different with coilovers.
Absolutely. And ultimately, a coilover is still a shock. Right. It just has a mount on there and a threaded body so you can mount a coil over top. But ultimately, a shock is a wearable item, so it's not going to last forever. That said, these are not your Monroe shocks that you're finding at Pet Boys, for $59.
That would be funny, wouldn't it? Go down there and get a Monroe coilover.
So it's not your cheap shock that you're going to put on there and try to get 10,000 miles out of, or 20,000 miles and hope the best. That said, these things are rebuildable. These things can be serviced. And in theory, you can get a very long life out of them, 100,000, 200,000 miles out of them.
Oh, okay, good.
There is servicing needed throughout the lifespan.
So you could take the coils off and just replace the shock portion of it?
So you do that. You open up the shock body. You can replace fluid, whether it be shim packs that you want to adjust the tuning and valving of how the shock is set up to meet your needs if you need something a little bit different. But typically shock body, seals, things like that are what needs to get replaced intermittently over the life of the shock.
How big a job is that?
It's not your do it in your garage, average mechanic kind of guy, but it is definitely, an off-road shop can do it if they have the right tools. Fox offers a service where you can mail them in, and they typically service them within a week to 2 weeks and get them back to you. So, it's race teams send them in on that side. The race teams do that pretty much after every race. They pull the shocks off, and whether they're tuning them or they're sending them back to Fox to get serviced, that's a pretty common.
That's just a good idea to make sure it's where it should be. So let me ask you this. You're off-road, you're driving your coilovers on your Jeep, your Fox coilovers on your Jeep, and one of them breaks. How do you get home?
How'd it break? See, ultimately, you typically wouldn't bend or break a shock. I mean, I guess the shaft, even though it's hardened and chrome plated and all that, it wouldn't typically break. It would typically be the mount that it's attached to on the Jeep.
Yeah, I can see that.
So if in that situation, you're SOL either way. I mean, ultimately.
Well, I mean, a local shop might have a coil or have a shock that you could put on there, but you're kind of SOL if you've got coilovers on your rig, right? I mean,
but the same could be said for. I mean, the amount of force that you'd have to put in there to break a coilover compared to even like a coil with a shock on there, it's a tremendous amount of force that you'd have to put on there. So realistically, you're probably breaking something else on the Jeep.
Gotcha.
There's another reason you're not getting off that trail, and it's not because the coil bent or you broke a coil on there. You might be damaged, but you could probably still drive it off.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, that's the question. I mean, that's the answer I was looking for, because people think about, and I don't know how much these things run. I mean, I think they're like, what, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 each.
It depends on the features that comes with, whether it's an adjustable reservoir, whether it has a reservoir at all. Fox offers like a 2.0 coilover. They offer a 2.5. They offer 2.5 with a reservoir. They offer 3.0s. If on the racing side, they go all the way up to the old 4.4 units. There's massive. So they've got lots of options.
So the front coilovers are different than the rear coilovers. So you couldn't just take a spare coilover with you. Is that correct?
Yeah. And for one, the valve is going to be a little bit different. Lengths are going to be a little bit different. We do a lot to where the lengths and all that are fairly close front to back, but ultimately to optimize it for that application, fronts and rears are different. Even like the length of the hose and where the hose is going to mount, things like that you can't make a universal that's going to fit a late model Jeep, say.
No, I'm not suggesting you should. I just want to make sure that the listener knows that they're going to have that it's really, left or right. That's
and
front or rear is what I will say.
Really, the likelihood that you'd ever bend a shock, trail riding, or really even doing just KOH racing, like Everyman Challenge, stuff like that. I feel like even those kind of classes, it's not that common to.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
So,
it would scare the hell out of me if I spent that much money and I'm, about 20 hours from home and I didn't trailer the rig. So,
and the same thing could be said for, a control arm broke or a drive shaft broke or an axle broke. It's ultimately it's coming prepared for what typically breaks, which is typically more of those moving parts like that.
Right.
Axle shaft snapping, and it's always good if you're wheeling and you're using it to that level of where you're pushing the vehicle to have a spare axle shaft. And same thing with drive shaft, U-joint, things like that are your common break points. A shock and even springs, that kind of stuff is typically not what you're breaking.
Good. I like hearing that. And you have a lot of experience with this. So that should mean a lot to the folks out there listening. So I think I have gone through my complete knowledge of what you guys sell as far as shock goes. When I think of Fox shocks, I think of the shocks. Is there more to talk about? Is there more products that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So Fox is just one component of the larger brand that we own. And obviously that's what we focus most of the time on today. But when you look at most of the Jeepers, they want, either a complete solution or they want to piece and part their Jeep together to make something custom. JKS is kind of where that that brand that brings all that together. Whether you're looking for a full lift kit and you want to say, hey, what are all the components that are needed? JKS has done a really good job of putting together like a way you can build out how extreme you're going to use your Jeep, how you're going to use your Jeep to get the right kit that either has a turnkey kit ready to go for you, that's going to have all the components from an adjustable track bar, rear track bar. It's going to have dual rate coil springs. It's going to have different shock options. It's going to have brake lines. It's going to have all the stuff that you need at different tiers. So whether you need control arms or you want to do adjustable control arms, it's going to have the coilover options, all that kind of stuff based on how you're going to use your vehicle. And there's a really cool tool on their website where you can actually go through and kind of pick and choose how you're going to use your vehicle, and it kind of figures out what the best kit for you.
If you recall, what are the range of Jeeps? Where does it start? And I'm sure it goes up to modern day, but how far back do you guys go?
So at this point, like complete kit wise, we're going to start at TJ and go forward. We have components for XJs and YJs and CJs. We have some CJ stuff, but that's about as far back as we go. Right.
And I like that. That's great, because no matter what you have, you can go to JKS and look and see what's available for it. The TJ, I don't know if you know much about the how many sales you're getting for the TJs these days. I love the TJs.
I've had 5 TJs myself over the years, and that's a great Jeep. And for us as a company, obviously nothing's going to trump a JK and a JL right now. That's just where the market is.
Sure.
And that's where most of the people that are going to modify their vehicle, that's what they're going after. But there's still an affinity of people that want to modify their TJ, or they got them second or third or fourth hand at this point, and they're like, all right, now it's time to do it.
Well, it's a great rig. It just is. And especially with the legendary 4.0 liter in it, it really makes it nice. I have a set of JK quick disconnects on my Gladiator because I didn't get a Rubicon. And frankly, I like the idea of being able to, actually disconnect things and not have to worry about any kind of issues with the Rubicon automatic thing.
Back to your statement earlier of what could fail on a trail. I mean, that is a known issue. The factory unit, can go bad. So this is your fail-safe. If you have a sway bar in there, and I apologize for the sound of Freedom flying over again, but that's what we get here. So
well, as long as you don't get any Freedom seeds, we'll be okay. So I will say this: I really like the design of the JKS quick disconnects, because you're not removing something that you have to keep up with and find all the bits when it's time to go home.
Absolutely,
it just swings up out of the way. It clips into place.
Clip it up out of the way. You reuse all the parts that you started with to secure it, and it's a lot of work. That was what the company was founded on back in 1989. Was that sway bar? It was a little bit different design, but we called it the quick disconnect, and this is why that's the quicker disconnect that we have now.
Okay.
Because we redid the design over the years, and that has been kind of our bread and butter of what the company was based around. It was these solutions for Jeeps. And it's just ways to improve on what's already a pretty epic vehicle. How do we make them even better? Mm-hmm. So it's whether it's that, or another vehicle, or another item that we're really well known for is our track bars. So we do a very heavy duty track bar that has a much thicker and heavier duty durometer bushings than what the factory is, that bolts right into the factory location. That seems like everyone, regardless of what lift, whether it's our lift or someone else's, they seem to put that track bar on there to recenter the front axle. Right. And ultimately the biggest benefit there is back to that death wobble topic. There's a lot of people that they've kind of found that the death wobble is caused by really soft bushings in that factory track bar.
Right.
And so it allows it to move side to side, that oscillation when you hit a bump because of the larger tires. And this is one of the main components to fix it. Mm-hmm. So you find ours is getting used a lot for that.
I think a lot of people don't realize how little movement it takes for death wobble to occur. I would say a 1/16 of an inch is too much.
Yeah, and whether it be something like too much motion there, or the vehicle slightly being out of alignment, or the caster being set up wrong, or the bushing just a little bit too worn out to where it has that play, all of that is contributing factors to what is that great world we all know of death wobble.
So if you didn't think you were going to die, it wasn't death wobble. It may have been scare wobble, but it wasn't death wobble. So I was just noticing on the xjtalk.com website, I see that there's Fox shocks there. There are the control arms. So would that be the place to go, no matter what you wanted to get?
That is kind of your dumping ground to find out all things Jeep. So they've got a ton of good tech and informational stuff on there. There is all the product listings, whether you're looking for components or complete kits to modify your vehicle. There are all the different shock options from Fox that you can find and read more about all the features and benefits of all of them. That's just a good place to find all that information for everything Jeep.
Very, very nice. Well, you know how the kids love the social media, and I didn't set you up for this, so I hope you remember all the social media things you'd like to plug here. Where can people find more about Fox Shocks, JKS? Where's the place to go?
Yep. So we'll start with JKS. Easiest way is really between all the major social outlets. It's going to be at jksmfg.com, or sorry, JKSMFG, and then drop the .com if you want the website.
Right.
And then for Fox, you're going to use Ride Fox PV, so powered vehicles at the end of it. So that's Ride Fox PV for all their outlets. And then if you want to check out BDS, which is more known in the truck space, but they also offer old leaf spring Jeep applications.
Nice.
So the ones that JKS doesn't, it is at BDS Suspensions with an S on the end. And then obviously Zone Off-Road is a fun brand that you can kind of, if you're looking just for a more less expensive Jeep product that will do everything you need, it is at Zone Off-Road. So those are our main brands. We also have Crawl Tech in there. So if you don't know Crawl Tech, that
sounds familiar.
Yeah, so they've been around, Crawl Tech Revolution. They've been around for, I want to say about 7 or 8 years now, doing really high-end bumpers, armor, kind of skid plates, that kind of stuff for Jeeps, and they've gotten into Bronco as well. So.
How are you guys doing with Bronco? I'm sure you sell shocks for Broncos and steering stabilizers.
We sell shocks,
and stuff.
we sell lift kits, we sell bumpers, different accessories. If I'm honest, they've sold, but just not to the level of a Jeep.
Well, of course not. They're not a Jeep.
Well, and I get that, and I'm a Jeep guy through and through, but I would have thought that there'd be a little bit more of a following behind that vehicle than what took off, and it never really seemed to take off. So
it got us a V8 and a Wrangler finally. So
that it did.
So they did some good stuff. All right, man. Look, Carter, I really appreciate you being here. It's always fun to talk to the fine folks at Fox, no matter what your name is, no matter what company you're going by. And I really do enjoy the products over at JKS Manufacturing, MFG.com. So you guys go check it out, and I highly recommend the quicker disconnects. I have had no issues with them other than the standard getting on a level spot, having a rubber hammer with me to get them off and back on.
Yeah, that'll happen at times. But ultimately, whether you get on flat ground or if you've been flexing for a while to where one coil is a little bit sagged out, that's typically what happens there. But yeah, it's.
How do you think about that? That's interesting.
Yeah, so have someone jump up and down on the bumper is the easiest way when that happens, because ultimately the vehicle's just settled a little bit off of.
Yeah, that makes sense. Flat. But when you're disconnected, you're disconnected.
Absolutely.
And I don't recommend people do this, but if you're in a Gladiator, you really don't need the sway bar anyway.
You might want to cut that part out. I don't know about that.
I went to, I told you about EJS, I think 2023, and I drove for 6-8 months, disconnected the whole time. So it's so big, it's long, and it doesn't really, now the XJ disconnected, that feels like you're steering a boat. But the JT, never noticed it really.
Yep.
All right, Carter, thanks a lot. Appreciate you being here. I'll have to have you on back again very, very soon.
Sounds good. Great talking to you.
Nice.
Broadcasting since 2010.
You're my friend. You're my new friend.